Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Loza, your friend, your host, your coach. Today, I have a wonderful friend, a recent fresh graduate from the UK Academy of the Profit Podcast Academy, the one and only Marc Overton, also known as your men's health expert. So I'm very happy, very honored. Marc, welcome, brother.
Thank you, Payman. Thanks for the introduction.
And congratulations on graduating and completing the first ever UK challenge. Sorry, not challenge, but the academy. And it was extended from 3 to 4 weeks. So I'm glad you survived it.
Oh, more than survived. It was thrived through the whole experience. It was brilliant and exceeded expectations, I have to say.
Awesome. Beautiful. We're gonna dive into that. So first of all, how long had you been thinking about podcasting before you joined first the challenge and then the academy?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think probably since I started business, really, which was only a year ago. I mean, just coming out of year one of startup, and I always knew and understood the power of podcasting, being a keen podcast listener myself. And I always knew it was there as something I must do. But I was quite overwhelmed by what it might take to actually do to launch that. So the answer is a good year since I started business, but then heated up in the last probably 2 months. Once I heard about your academy and met you, and saw that you're a heart-centered guy that been through the process himself, walks the walk, talks the talk, then it was a no-brainer to get going.
I'm delighted here. Thank you so much. And what was the thing that made you say yes?
That's a great question. So I think it's the realization that this, out of all of the things that you can sort of put off through, not necessarily only procrastination, but in terms of fear of how much it's going to take, I realized that, again, coming out of year one, I've spent an awful lot of time on social media platforms, particularly LinkedIn, which I've got, I'm all for LinkedIn and I understand the power of LinkedIn, but I understand that I've wasted so much time trying to put together the perfect posts, trying to throw the net out in terms of marketing with no real returns, to be honest, or immediate returns. And I needed to focus on marketing in a much more efficient way. And I could see podcasts, just streamlining everything, just being able to take the shorts that you can from your podcast and put them into your social media, and just put everything into one box, really. So that's what gave me that real urgency. Once I had that realization, I was like, okay, I need to act on this now and just get going.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, why me? Among all the other podcasts, I wouldn't say gurus. I'm definitely not a guru, but all the other podcast programs. Why me?
Because you're real and relatable, and I mean, apart from being very charismatic and just as soon as as soon as you get to meet yourself, you get to meet Payman. For those that are listening, you very quickly realize that this is a heart-centered chap on a mission to really, to do positive things, for anybody that's willing to work with him. I really enjoyed your learning, or your teaching style, should I say. So even from the very first, the 5-day challenge that you did, even from day one, you could see that your teachings was just sucked in straight to the point. And you sort of, the promises that you laid out at the beginning of the challenge were delivered. So absolutely.
Awesome, awesome. Happy to hear that. Now, what are your overall thoughts about the program?
About the academy.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved the academy, and as I said, when we first jumped on, it sort of exceeded my expectations. Not so much the actual learning process in terms of the structure. Structure was workable. It was done in bite size. And actually, I was away, technically on kind of summer holidays, looking after my children, although one eye on work. And I committed to the academy knowing that, because I wanted to keep one eye on the ball as I was away. But there was days, obviously, where you could potentially feel overwhelmed, but it didn't really happen like that, because you could, first of all, there was a Q&A session which wasn't actually supposed to be part of the program. So you have your initial group coaching call on each Monday at the beginning of each week, but Payman kindly added an additional hour to the beginning of that session to go through any Q&As from the previous week. So any time that you felt like you might be running behind, You had the weekend and then that Q&A session on the Monday to catch up. So that's what I really loved about the academy. So it took away that kind of like fear of missing out on certain days. And then another thing that I must mention in terms of going beyond expectations is Payman was always really willing to offer his calendar to organize a one-to-one whenever you wanted, really, within reason, you know, and it was a really welcome add-on. You know, if you had I mean, I've had two one-on-ones with Payman during that time, one during the academy, one after. And again, it's just a great way to feel you're getting what you need from it, to get that support that you need if you get a little bit worried or you get a little bit overwhelmed.
I'm glad to hear that. Very welcome. Because again, I want to do anything I can in my power to make sure you not only you follow, but you win. And that's what I want. I meant. So thank you. Now,
Yeah.
what do you think of the support from me, and also what do you think of the community within the academy?
I mean, the support, you know, second to none. As I just said, you're always willing to. I mean, you're very responsive on Facebook Messenger, for example, whether that was on the group or whether that was private messages. As I said, you've offered your one-to-one support as well in terms of actually having virtual one-on-ones. The academy and the group side of it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. I think that's something that doesn't necessarily come across on the initial sort of presentation of what the benefits are of doing this podcast academy. Although right now I've graduated from it, I know exactly what I need to do to launch this podcast, which I'm going to be doing at the end of this month in 4 weeks' time. But what I didn't expect or hadn't really sort of thought about is the power of the networking alone that you get within the academy, and the doors that's open, the lovely sort of souls that I've met through that, and the opportunities that are going to come through that. For example, I was on a podcast yesterday as a guest speaker. That opportunity wouldn't have come about unless there was that kind of group network. So absolutely amazing.
Love that, love that. Yes, just get with other people, other student academy. Right there, you're gonna get 10 different platform, and I can't wait to have you on my podcast. So when you're ready, just say so. I'll shoot you my calendar. You already have my calendar, so let's make it happen.
Can't wait. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think of the experts that I brought in?
Yeah, the experts were diverse and very, very interesting, you know, and covering a sort of an array of different subjects. And again, just to open the mind to certain areas. I had so many insightful moments during the whole academy, both through the actual material, in terms of the educational material that you learn, but then from the guests that came on, and just, you know, people that are just absolutely that have all real people that have gone through processes themselves as well to get where they are, and just, you know, again, just getting you thinking about completely different ways of doing things, or different approaches to propel your business, whether it's now or in the future.
Which was a favorite expert?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think out of all of the experts, Misha
Oh yeah,
resonated with me. Well, they all resonated with me, to be fair, but I just found Misha's, because his story was very interesting too. And again, going through, you know, he talks a lot about his kind of procrastination at the beginning of doing podcasting, and then just, you know, the doors that it's opened. Yourself, obviously, as well, your own sort of inspirational story about how your podcasting journey has completely transformed your circumstances, and not only your circumstances, but also yourself, in terms of your growth, your morale, your life experience, everything. Yeah. So some brilliant inspiration in everybody that's been involved.
absolutely, absolutely, yes. And now that you're going to launch your own podcast, profitable podcast, how do you think this is gonna help you in your business moving forward?
I've got enormous hopes, and it's not even hopes, it's a belief, it's an expectation, actually, I would say, more than that. Because I know that once you the power of podcasting is there for anybody to see. You know, anybody that's either listens to podcasts. If you listen to podcasts already, you know the power of it, because if you listen to a podcast quite regularly, then you get that feeling that you almost know this person, almost like they're your friend, or even, you know, your big brother or big sister, or somebody that you can really resonate with, connect with, and that's the power of podcasting. So as I said before, I've been hiding behind these kind of social media written posts, but you realize that if nobody's met you before in person, they don't see your personality. That I mean, you can get your personality jump out a little bit across text, but it doesn't always come across the way you want it to. So the expectations I have once I get my message out there, my philosophy out there in terms of how I approach health, fitness, and lifestyle, to serve as many people as possible, I'm sure that that message will just snowball much faster than if I was not podcasting, put it that way. And then the opportunity to also interview amazing guests. I've got really high hopes of the type of caliber of guests that I can get onto the show. And then, of course, the doors that opens and the networks that opens too. So really, really excited, thrilled that I've done the academy, and yeah, just happy to be in this position I'm in. See what happens in the coming months and years to do with podcasting.
Absolutely. And I'm thrilled. I can't wait to see how high you're going to take it. You mentioned opportunities. What kind of opportunities do you expect and do you see realistically you're having your profitable podcast opening up for you in your business?
The opportunities that I think will come from podcasting are for lead generation. Absolutely, that goes without saying. This would be probably one of the main reasons I wanted to podcast, because as I said, lead generation for any startup business, especially where you don't have an audience, is quite a daunting sort of like thing to get your head around, and it can be quite painful as well, and very, very grounding very quickly. So the opportunities that I think will come from podcasting is to, as I said, to get my message out there, to make sure, to ensure that my branding, my voice, my philosophy, my messaging is on point to those who are listening to. And from that, natural lead generation will come. I'll be able to speak about my offers. And as I said, just to build slowly but surely a nice audience that will serve me and also, of course, them very well moving forward.
Awesome. Awesome. Absolutely. Can't wait to see how far it's going to go. Would you say that, was your investment worth it? Did you get your money's worth by investing into the Profit Podcast Academy?
100%. I mean, and that's before even sort of thinking about how onboarding one client will pay for it anyway, in my situation. And I know that, as I said, in terms of the podcast and lead generation, it will pay for itself with just one client, let alone my high hopes and expectations of what the podcast can deliver. But from it, actually, in terms of the academy, the content, the support, um, the confidence that I have now to do what I'm doing, there's no question.
I'm delighted to hear that. Yes, just one client. And once you have your podcast, you have literally access to get leads on demand just by using the approach I shared with you inside the Academy. You know what to do, just implement it. Last question. If there's anyone else out right now listening to this and they're thinking to have a podcast, or they would you recommend them to have a chat with me, and would you recommend the Academy to them?
Yeah, wholeheartedly, 100%. Yes, absolutely. Don't. My best advice would be, don't hesitate. Don't think twice about this one. Okay, it's the what you're going to learn, the support you're going to get, the networking you get within the group, payment support. As I said, he's been there, he's done it, he's doing it right now. This guy knows what he's talking about, and he will handhold you through the whole process.
Awesome, thank you. And finally, one last question I want to ask you. If where is it? Okay, what do you think you would be right now if you didn't invest in this program?
Where would I be?
Yes, you would still be, yes, as far as your business and getting traction, leads, and business, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, totally. So I think I would still be a little bit lost and a little bit sort of derailed. So what this has given me, and this has come at a point where I was sort of coming out almost like a point of overwhelm in terms of what I'm going to do
Mm,
to get traction quickly. This whole process of the academy has given me direction. It's given me structure. It's given me belief, excitement. It's given me drive. But more importantly, it's given me the tools I need to actually make it happen and turn this kind of so-called hobby into a thriving business. And I'm really ready to do that now.
Absolutely. I'm delighted to hear that. I can't wait to see your podcast going, Mark. Listen, I salute you. I love what you're doing. I'm cheering for you. Not only I'm cheering for you, but most importantly, imagine this, all your future clients that are literally dying to work with you, just waiting for you to share your gifts to them, for them to find you. They're all cheering for you. So go make it happen. You've got it all. You have the knowledge, the connections, now you have the network. You have little me here as well, cheering for you. We're all here. So go make it happen, brother. The world, the universe are waiting for you, cheering for you, and so am I. Take care, brother. God bless.
Appreciate that. Cheers, Payman.
Yes.